welcome back to my channel. So I know there's a lot of people who had some questions about how the interview process went for me and how it goes. I do have my own personal experience, but I also know a few of my friends who had their personal experiences as well in their specific school. So I'm here to share with you what we went through and what to expect as well, so stick around. So in pharmacy school interviews, they have it set up in different ways depending on what the school wants to do. So for example, my school where I go, they had an assessment first, a writing assessment before my actual interview. So what we did is that we went in a room, I think it was me and a few other people, and they gave us different topics on what to write about, and we got to choose which one. I'm trying to remember which one I chose, but I think I chose to make like a little biography about myself, kind of in a TV show, something. I don't know, I don't remember, but I picked the funnier one because I thought maybe that was a way to express my fun side, because I feel like a lot of people go into interviews very nervous. So I just wanted to do something different to show that I also have, you know, a comical side and a playful side as well. So I did choose that one, and I think, well, it went very well, of course, because I'm here. But I think they do that just to see how you write. There's no specific right or wrong answer. They just want to see how you put your words together, how your thought process is, and how you structure sentences. So I wouldn't sweat too much about it. I wouldn't worry too much, because they don't grade you on how well you write. They just want to get to know you a little bit more by seeing how you can put something together, I guess, under pressure and under timed pressure. After that, I went to my interview and I was asked a few questions, and I'm gonna share with you the kind of questions they asked me. So some questions they asked me that they also might ask you is what made you interested in pharmacy school? Which is a very good question, because of course you're gonna spend all this money and all this time and effort into this program, so you should have a pretty good answer for that one. My answer to that was that I got inspired through being a technician. I really didn't know much about pharmacy before being a technician. So once I started working at a pharmacy, I started to realize that I'm actually pretty good at this, and I can see myself being a pharmacist one day, and working there longer and longer and learning all the things that I do now, that I know now, made me realize I think that this is definitely the job for me. And I actually got passionate about it in a way. You know, it's hard because it is a crazy field, but in a way I did become passionate about pharmacy, and I was like, you know what, I think I want to make this my career. So that was pretty much my answer to them, was that I got inspired through becoming a pharmacy technician. Other questions that they may ask you that I do remember them asking me was that what makes you a great candidate to be in this program. Sorry. So they'll ask you what makes you a good candidate to be chosen for this specific program at this specific school. And you kind of want to be prepared for that question, because you know, they want to see how much you know about the program and how much you know about the school. So beforehand, you should do some research. And you know, it's not just for the interview for yourself. You kind of want to know what you're getting into. You kind of want to know what kind of program you're getting involved in and what school you're going in. So do your research, find out about the school, the history, the program, what they do, what they're about, what they stand for. I think it's very important to know these things, so that when you go to your interview, you not only sound smart, but you seem well prepared and engaged in the conversation as well. So yeah, do your research. Some questions they might ask is like, what do you know about pharmacy? Some people surprisingly don't know much about pharmacy, and they're ready to jump right into the career of becoming a pharmacist. So it is important to you know, be familiar with what you're getting yourself into. Pharmacy is just not retail pharmacy. There's a wide scope on pharmacy, so get familiar with it and find what you might be interested in and throw that in there as well as they ask you those questions. I think I remember them asking me as well what was my favorite subject in undergrad or in high school, and of course the sciences. I'm a science geek. I love science. I love biology. Not many people know that about me, but some do, some don't. But I loved biology. I love learning about the body and how the cells work. And so I told him, like, you know, biology was my thing. Chemistry, not so much. And I was experienced in the sciences before my undergrad, of course. So, you know, of course that made me a good candidate because I was familiar with it, and I did take a lot of classes as well. You don't have to say science is your favorite. It's okay not to say that. They just want to see that you're being genuine as well. So be genuine with your answers as well. One question I remember them asking me was, what is your greatest weakness? This question can be tricky because you don't want to say, oh, I'm lazy, because this program is not a program for the lazy. You know, you have to be on top of things or you'll miss it. You'll mess up. So definitely what my answer was, and which is, it is true, is that my weakness is I tend to want to get things done, and if people don't do their part, I tend to just do it myself. I'm a person where, you know, I love teamwork, but if my team is not stepping in, and if I'm saying to help me out and you're not doing your part, I will step in, I'll just do it myself and get out of the way. Which can be a weakness because, you know, working together as a team is finding the weaknesses of the team and solving it so that everybody can work together. But me, I kind of just want to get everything done my way. You know, if it's not my way, I tend to be a little agitated, but that is my weakness. And I told them, you know, that's something that I'm working on, is because pharmacy, of course, you're working with a team. You're working with your technicians, and you have to know how to delegate and how to trust each member with their specific role. So that was my answer. And of course, if they ask you what's your weakness, they're gonna ask you what your strength is. And, you know, that's where you can kind of show off a little bit. And if you wanna know what my answer was, my strength was and is, I feel like I do have very good leadership skills. I love working as a team, and I love stepping up. If somebody is not willing to step up, your girl will be right there, and I'll delegate and jump in and get the ball rolling. So that's definitely my strength. So start thinking about what your strengths and weaknesses are, because yes, it's gonna help you with this interview, but it's gonna help you also in the program, so you know where you can give your most if you're working on a team project or anything like that. So definitely think about those things. I also want to talk about other ways that interviews can go. Sorry, I just poked myself in the eye. My friend of mine, he not only had a writing assessment, he also had a math assessment. So he did have to take a math exam. Sounds kind of scary, but he said it wasn't that serious. They did ask him some basic algebra questions and some basic calculus. So definitely find out what your school gives in regards to the interview process, because you want to be prepared for that. If they're going to give you algebra, you need to brush up on that algebra. I don't know if there was a passing score or anything, but they definitely want to see that you're eligible and you know your stuff, which I think is a good thing to do, because you're gonna be doing basic math in pharmacy school, so you should at least know. For me, funny thing is I got better at it as I was in the program, so it's different for everybody. You know, I was an engineering major, but I really did become better in my algebra for the pharmacy program within the program itself. So just something to think about. There are some schools who will give you a math exam, so be prepared for that. Seems like I always have a cold when I'm filming. I'm in New England, so it's always winter and spring and summer all in one day. They'll of course ask you the basic questions. Be confident in the way you answer the question. Try not to be too shy. They're not trying to intimidate you. If you do get somebody that's kind of scary, just brush it off. That's just probably their demeanor. They're not there trying to scare you off. They want students. They want to get people into their program. So don't think they're there to try to make you fail. Just go in confident and answer to the best of your ability. If you think you mess up with a question, it's okay. Just go on to the next question and answer it to the best of your ability. So after my interview, luckily the person who interviewed me she was very friendly, and you know, she talked a lot too, so it helped me, you know, calm down, so I didn't feel like I had to do all the talking. She did tell me about a lot of things about the program, and one thing I did prepare was questions. Ask questions. They love when you ask questions, because they don't want to just sit there and give the interview and then they ask, do you have any questions, and say no. I've done some interviews before for prospective like technicians and stuff like that. I was able to sit in an interview process, and when you ask questions, it actually helps out because it kind of makes you feel out the person. It makes you see that the person is interested in whatever they're going for. So be prepared with really good questions. I remember asking questions about, okay, how does a student balance school life and their personal life? Like, what kind of clubs do they have and how do they balance that out? Because, you know, pharmacy school is not an undergrad program where you can just be in a fraternity or a sorority and then do school in between. Like, you have to focus on school. People quit their jobs just to focus in pharmacy school. So I asked questions about how do they balance that out? What did they do here to lift student morale? I asked questions to see, what do you have for me? Like, I want to come to school, but what do you have for me? Like, how am I going to become a better pharmacist coming to your school? So yeah, you want to go to the school, but present yourself as, you know what, I'm a hot ticket. So how do you help your students? What kind of tutoring programs do you have here? If the student's not doing so well with in a certain amount of time, what does the school do? How do they step in? So ask questions. They love when you ask questions. So be prepared. Have them written down. It's okay if you bring them with you. Be like, hey, I have some questions I wrote down so I can ask you. And they'll say like, okay, this person is here for serious business. So that's always good. After my interview, I had a professor who taught at the school. She showed me around the building. So I think they will give you a tour because my friend did have a tour as well. So they should give you a tour of the school, which is the best part because you kind of get to see where you're gonna sit and where you're gonna learn, where you're gonna eat and hang out, where you're gonna study. You kind of get to imagine yourself doing those things, and you actually get to see some of the students in action. So I remember during the tour I got to see some students in the lab, and it was kind of weird because they were looking at me like fresh meat like freshmen. You can use it to imagine yourself doing the same thing. So I thought that was the fun part of the interview, was the tour. And during the tour they'll talk to you and tell you about the buildings and ask questions. Be interested, be intrigued, because this is going to be your life. These buildings and these rooms that they're showing you is where you're going to spend a lot of your time. Overall, I just want to say, you know, I know you clicked on this video to get, you know, all the details about interviews, but there's only so much somebody can tell you about how to do an interview or not. My advice is please just be yourself. Don't try to overdo anything. They just want you to be you and see how interested you are in the program. Relax. You got this. You made it this far to the interview, so you're pretty much in there. So be yourself. Also be professional, because this isn't a professional level of school. This is graduate school. So be professional, be yourself, be friendly, let go, and, you know, enjoy it. All right, so I hope this video helped you out, and if you like this video, please like and subscribe. Don't forget to hit the bell so you don't miss any other videos. So thank you for watching. Bye.